so you can be a mystery shopper or become a customer. For example, I was doing some work in the manufacturing housing world. I took one day of my life and I called on 5 different distributors. 5 different companies pretend to be a customer. Then I made an appointment and I went in as a mystery shopper for a company that ended up booking me about 10 times. And then I went to one of their factories and I interviewed Joe Payton, who was the manager of how they built them. And again, got great techniques on how do you manage blue-collar workers. Because as I said, Joe, it's very easy to have a commitment to quality and excellence when in fact you have a clean job in a marketing office or sales. But how do you get the guys who are dirty with the orange earplugs who have to work in the factory? And he gave me a great story which has become a classic when I talk about management and motivation and creativity. But it was customized. One day of my life. And I got so much business because people said, we have to have you. You're an expert. So pretend to be a customer. Another time it really paid off was for Bartlett Tree Company. Bartlett Tree is a lovely company. When I first spoke to them, they had been in business for 98 years. And every 5 years they had a national meeting, and for the next 4 years they were all regional. Now you might be interested how I got this job. They had booked 5 years before Jim Tunney, who is one of my speakers roundtable member friends. And he did such a good job, they were going to book him again. And then Greg Daniels, who was booking the speakers, just happened to open a magazine. And there was an article about speakers and my photograph. And he remembered he had seen me 8 years before speak at the National Arborists Association in Phoenix. He called me up and said, I remember you were great 8 years ago. Are you available? Now, this is how it's supposed to be. Not, what is your fee? Can you send me a video? He just booked me. So then what I did, I said, don't tell anyone, I'm going to become a customer. So imagine this. I am walking out. There have been 3 other professional speakers, a lot of breakout sessions. I walk out on day 4. Now, by day 4, people really don't need another speaker. My opening line was, so I called the Bartlett office in San Francisco and said, I need someone to come and look at my trees. But I warn you, I'm not going to be a very big customer. I only have 2 trees. To which Marilyn, who had worked in the San Francisco office just for 1 month, said, oh, madam, we don't have any little customers. Everyone's equally important to us. And I wish you could have been there at 1 o'clock on a Thursday in September, the day my very own Bartlett tree expert came to call. So what did I do? I invested $195 having 2 trees fertilized, and I had 2 stories at the beginning about their people who were heroes. Naturally, I got rebooked. So what do you do once you become a customer? I said, I'm going to have to go out with the guys. And if you had been in San Francisco on this particular Thursday, there I was in my Bartlett t-shirt, hard hat, jeans, boots, and gloves, and I went out, and the guys were trimming, and I was picking up the leaves. Of course, we had to have a digital camera to prove that I was there. And so I actually went out and worked. I had my photograph taken sitting in their vehicles. Of course, I couldn't drive them, but sitting in them. And then I went out on a sales call with my very own Bartlett tree expert. He said, who shall I tell them you are? I said, you don't. I'll just walk around with a clipboard, write down what you say. They see my t-shirt and my Bartlett hard hat. They know I'm your assistant. 1 day of my life. And I connected with them so indelibly that it developed a great relationship that has been repeated on many occasions. So take an effort. Customize your speech. You see, every time you have a customized story, the point of wisdom related to it will probably fit in your other presentations and become part of your repertoire. So this is the way you develop material that has nothing to do with you being the hero of your story. So you might be saying, but Patricia, I'm watching this DVD because I'm a coach. Well, there are two ways that you can get coaching business. One, you have to let your clients know that you are available for other services, because out of my keynote speaking, a lot of coaching and sales presentation skills has come. Let's just say somebody finds you on the internet or has been referred to you. This is what I found has worked every single time. I always say to people, I'm not going to try and sell you. I have more demand for my time than I have time, which is true. I want to make sure that we have a connection. So why don't you pretend you already hired me? Let's start work on your project or your speech, and you can see in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes if this is the type of advice you want. So at the end of 30 minutes, you can say, Patricia, this is exactly what I want. Let's start for real. Or you'll say, Patricia, thank you. My speech will be better from talking to you, but this isn't what I want. This is what my coaching client, Charlie Green, author of The Trusted Advisor, says is selling by doing, not selling by telling. How often do we tell people how good we are? I'd rather just show them. Once they have an experience of what it's like working with them, they know if I'm what they need, and I know if I would be comfortable working with them. Because what I always say to my clients, feel free to say it to yours, working with a coach is not like working with a psychiatrist. However, you have to feel equally comfortable.